Good morning and welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. And I'm trying a different location than yesterday, just trying to see if I can get the lighting a little better. So here we are, we'll take a whack at it. So hope you're all off to a good start on this fine Tuesday. I totally messed up what day it was last night when I was talking to my sister, and she goes, it's only Monday. And I'm like, oh. You lose track when you're on vacation. It's a good thing. So let us start with some tapping and some breath. So I think I'm going to start here. Feels like here. Good morning. Hello, Nancy. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. Just starting some tapping and some breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good morning, Gwen. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Feeling your shoulders drop. Hello, Barb. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Practical rebels are rough and ready today. Everybody's showing up fast. This is good. You can tap your collarbone spot. You can pick a different spot, whatever feels right to you. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. So yesterday, one of the things that we did was create vision boards. Mine's still not all glued together, but as I was looking around at all of our vision boards, every single one of them had a ton of nature on it. There were animals, there were plants, there were all the things, right? And I was just pondering that in terms of what does nature give us? And two of us took a walk, a longer walk, out through the woods and around to a little creek, and it was just awesome. But I was thinking about, what does nature give us? And then before we created our vision boards, I had a little thing I wanted to read to them, and it was about artistry. And I thought I'd share that with you today, because I think some people make the assumption that as we get older, we step away from being creative. And I think that is not true at all. And in fact, the opposite may be true. So let's take a look at that. Good morning, Mr. O'Neill. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. So I want to read to you what I read to them before we started our vision boards yesterday, and see what you all think. See what resonates for you. See what grabs you. I gotta grab a drink here. I was up early today, got my paraliminal listening done already, because when I woke up, it was 77 degrees in my room. They got the heat fixed yesterday. Good morning, Beth. Glad you are here. Welcome. And I couldn't find the thermostat. There wasn't a thermostat in the room. There wasn't one in the hallway, and I didn't know if it was in my friend Flo's room, and I didn't want to wake her up, so I just sweltered for a while. And then I thought, to heck with it. I might as well just get up and start this day. So the case for artistry in midlife. And this was a guest post. Chip Conley, he runs Modern Elder Academy, and he does, Wisdom Well is one of his many endeavors. Let's call it an endeavor. So Chip invited Steve Morris, who's an artist, to write this little guest post. And I just want to share it with you because I think it stirs some interesting thoughts and conversations. And Chip puts a note at the beginning that says, Stephen's blend of artistry and pragmatism makes him one of the wiser people I know. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Stephen says, spend enough time with Chip Conley and you'll hear the word chrysalis. He doesn't use it lightly. He uses it both a midlife weather forecast and a celebration. A chrysalis is messy. Listen to this next line. We've talked about this before, but here we go. The old self disintegrates before the new one fully arrives. You can't rush it without deforming the outcome. And if you've lived long enough, you'll recognize the feeling, how what used to fit now constricts, and something yet to be named wants to emerge. What Chip offers isn't a denial of crisis, but a reframe. Midlife not as decline, but as listening differently. I like that, listening differently. And I love that part too about the old self disintegrates before the new one fully arrives. So there's that discomfort, what Sumont Kid calls the green muck stage. So, and when we are willing to allow a green muck stage and embrace it, that's when we can move forward. So, here's the view from the studio of life. When coaching clients and leaders ask how to navigate midlife, they often expect life hacks or routines. Here's what you do. Here are the steps you take, right? While refining our ritual and routines in midlife makes loads of sense, I ask this instead. So if some of you want to put this question in the feed, I would be grateful. Where in your life are you making something that doesn't yet know what it wants to become? Let me read it again. Where in your life are you making something that doesn't yet know what it wants to become? I love that. So he says, let's talk about the potency of art in midlife. Running alongside the strategized and systematized professional life or entrepreneurial journey has always been another. A life where the unnamed, unfamiliar, and unfinished isn't a flaw, it's the point. How many of us feel that sense of, well, something's about to emerge, but I have no idea what it is. Or I feel this nesting desire, but I don't know what I'm nesting for. Or something is fundamentally going to be different, but I can't tell what it is. That's what he's talking about there. And I no longer see that life of human artistry as a side practice. It's developmental, relational, cathartic, and yes, potentially spiritual. Midlife is a turning point. As Carl Jung observed, the first half of life is about building identity. Competence. Thank you, Gwen. I appreciate you posting that. I love that question. Even just spending an hour with that question. I think it'd be awesome. Yeah. Let's go back to that sentence. Carl Jung observed, the first half of life is about building identity. Competence, contribution, credibility. The second half asks, who am I now? What matters next? How does lived wisdom serve a greater good? Good morning, Carolyn. Glad you're here. Welcome. The psyche or soul speaks in a different language. It ceases speaking in tactics, strategies, and plans, the four-letter G word, goal, and starts speaking in symbols, metaphors, and myths. How many of us, as we've gotten older, are getting into the mystical and the magical and the bigger pictures and those things we know to be true over many lifetimes, right? That's where we go. It asks for integration, not optimization. Push too hard for certainty, and the psyche resists. Quietly at first, then louder if it hasn't gotten your attention. Art gives you access to that language and to the world of your personal and collective unconscious. One of the things we were talking about yesterday as we were doing the vision boards is how what we maybe started out to create isn't what actually showed up. I had one of those years ago. It really pissed me off. It was a vision board where my intention was, what am I meant to be doing next in terms of my work, my business, that stuff. Tearing out pictures, talking to the people I'm with, tearing out pictures. All of a sudden I noticed like 4 or 5 pictures were pairs of Adirondack chairs, sitting there looking out over the water, sitting on a deck looking out over a lake, sitting on a hill looking out over a valley. These pairs of Adirondack chairs. It wasn't at all about, it was about partnership and connection, and it wasn't at all about work. It was very interesting. So now Stephen, again, he's an artist. So what he said, he's a painter. When I paint, I rarely know what I'm making until I nearly finish. Nonfiction writing can articulate what I think I know. Poetry reveals what I didn't know I knew. Love that. Love that. And if you're saying to yourself, well, I'm not any good at poetry, how do you know? Have you tried? When did you last try? 6th grade? Try again. Try again. Yes. Sue agrees. Both art and writing are somatic. They're in the body. They're in the body. They arise from an attentive body and an excavated psyche. I loved that. An excavated psyche. It means you've done your inner work. You've done your deep work. A surprising sentence shows up seemingly out of nowhere. Then another. Meaning arrives later. Sometimes when I wrote poetry, it was like, I wonder where this is going to go. You have no idea until you're, at the end. Then you know. Attention matters. It creates space for gnosis, Gnosis, a deeper kind of knowing. So agnostic means not knowing, right? So gnosis means knowing. And we all have that. Neuroscience agrees. Art making lights up the brain in integrated ways, engaging emotion, memory, motor coordination, spatial reasoning, and sustained attention in synchrony. Studies using neuroimaging show that creative activity increases connectivity across regions of the brain associated with cognitive flexibility and resilience, even into midlife and beyond. I loved this. Longhand writing, such as journaling, cultivates thought in ways typing does not. Oh, and we got the slow. There we go. We're back. Okay, we'll keep going. We'll see how far we get. Let's see here. Cultivates thoughts in ways typing does not. Research by Muller and Oppenheimer and others have shown that writing by hand improves memory encoding and conceptual understanding because the slower pace forces the writer to synthesize ideas rather than just transcribe them. When cognitive maintenance matters, if you're worrying about your brain health, this kind of embodied thinking is a form of brain fitness. Write by hand. That helps your brain. People often ask, do I have to be good at art making? No. The brain doesn't care about innate talent or outcomes. And we've talked about that with all kinds of things. Sports, hobbies, all the things that people stop doing because they figure they're not good enough at it. Garbage. However you do it, absolutely perfect. The brain responds to engagement, and the psyche responds to depth, sincerity, and presence. Art making matters, especially in midlife, when unresolved material begins to surface. Old griefs, deferred dreams, parts of ourselves we postponed developing. Without a container or practice, this energy shows up as anxiety, stress, or restlessness. Through artwork, it can be metabolized. Is that not an amazing sentence? Through artwork, it can be metabolized. I remember a young woman who did a lot of native art, and her grandfather said to me at one point, can you get her to stop drawing these pictures? Get her to do some positive stuff. I mean, she had some stuff that was rather bloody, etc. She was working through stuff, and I said to him flat out, no, don't dissuade her from doing this. This is a beautiful outlet for that energy that needs a place to go. Need to do your art more often. It brings me peace. And yes, it is important. It is absolutely important. Do it, Carolyn. Absolutely. All right, let's see where we go. Through artwork, all of that energy can be metabolized. Art gives our psyche form and an outlet to express the unconscious. Yes. James Hillman argued that the psyche develops through imagination as much as insight. So being creative, sitting there, staring out the window for an hour, allow that, do that, embrace that. Making art gives imagination somewhere to go, somewhere to move through complexity without forcing absolute certainty. That's why I appreciate Chip's metaphor. To me, the chrysalis is a verb pointing toward becoming. It's active, and art fuels the chrysalis transformation by encouraging the expression of the psyche. It rewards patience, tolerates ambiguity, and strengthens attention over time. And it protects the things we fear losing: memory, focus, and mental agility. For me, art making has meant keeping a studio practice even when it made no sense. Writing longhand when typing would be faster. Faster ain't always better, folks. And trusting that what looks unproductive on the surface, staring out the window, is often the most generative work of all. Take a breath. Let it go. I hope that sparked something for you. I'm glad to see Carolyn post, I need to do my art more often. Yes, 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 yes. If nothing else comes out of sharing this post, then one of you doing your art more often, it will be a very successful post. Pick up something, try something, do something. Take a class, learn a little bit of something, but also don't buy into someone else's way of doing something. When my son was finishing up his bachelor's degree in art, we had a conversation about was he going for his Master of Fine Arts, and he said, no, I don't want someone messing around with my way of doing things. He is his mother's daughter, or son, yeah. So allow your own creativity. Yes, you can learn some techniques from people, absolutely, but don't put yourself in a box. Let your own stuff flow. This was a hopeful message. You are welcome. You are welcome, welcome, welcome. Do something. Get some clay. Squish some clay around. Handling something can be a really powerful thing. Get a piece of blank paper. Don't color in a coloring book where someone else's lines dictate what you can do or not. Get a blank piece of paper. Stare at that blank piece of paper. Sue thought that was funny. And just, when I turn the page in my journal and there's a whole brand new empty page waiting to receive words that flow through me, there's this expectant, anticipatory feel to that every time I turn the page. So seek that out. Find that for yourself. Play around a little bit. If you're very uncomfortable to begin with, maybe you do start with the lines. Then start drawing outside of them. Then go to the blank paper. And maybe one of our people, I won't say who, said, I really wanted a little poster board. I didn't want a big poster board. That's that containment thing, trying to stay within. This feels comfortable. This does not. She went for this. So, have an awesome Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Put some stuff in the feed. We'll chat. This is good. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.